99X, it's Barnes and Leslie. We are your Morning X. Half of us back in our proper positions. Leslie is back in Nashville. I'm still in France. I'm working over here. I've got a shoot that's going on for the next couple of weeks. And then I'll be back in Atlanta here soon. But Leslie, you dropped that. I try to drop a bomb on you at the end of Sleaze that I've got something you don't know, and you bomb me back.
Well, okay, we haven't had a chance to really properly get caught up since I got back because I was on a little bit of a jet lag for a few days. So I was sitting next to someone on the plane, actually across the aisle. And when that person walked on the plane, you ever like go, oh my gosh, who is that? He looks familiar. I know who it is. And you're trying to put the pieces together.
So hold on. You were on, was it called La Compagnie?
Yes, La Compagnie. It's I guess it's fairly new airline.
It's it's much
it goes
cheaper.
From Newark, it goes from Newark to a couple of different places.
It's much cheaper, and it's all flatbeds, right? The whole thing.
All flatbeds.
Love that.
And very comfy. So we're coming back, and this person walks on the plane, and I'm like, I know who that is. And I start
Where was this? Was this Nice or Paris?
This was in Nice.
Oh, so in Nice.
Yes.
So he comes on, and you have this like sense of, oh, I know this guy, but do you think you know him like as a friend or?
No, I know he's an actor, and I go, oh, he has a brother who was on. My first instinct was his brother was on Entourage. Isn't that funny that was the first thing came to my head? Yeah, he has a brother who was on Entourage, and then I still couldn't remember his name, so I Google. This is really funny. I Google male actors from the 80s, and there he pops up.
Well, who the hell are we talking about?
Matt Dillon.
You were on a plane with Matt Dillon?
Yes, Matt Dillon. And as you know, Matt Dillon's been in a ton of movies, especially in the 80s. And, I mean, dated Cameron Diaz forever. He looks exactly the same.
How
and
old
I noticed that the seat next to him is empty. And Lanny's like, oh, I bet he bought the seat next to him. I'm like, why would you think that? And he goes, so no one would sit next to him. And sure enough, halfway through the flight, he goes to the seat by the window and does the flatbed and takes a little nappy nap.
Hold on. So it's not the dude from Entourage, but his brother, the more famous Dillon.
Yeah, this is Matt Dillon, not, I can't remember his brother's name.
Who is more famous? His brother's name is Kevin.
Yeah, no, this is Matt Dillon, who was like in The Outsiders, The Flamingo Kid. It was one of those guys that was in and he was a bunch of movies too in the 2000s.
Okay,
but
hold on.
I mean, a ton of movies.
Now, Fram, you're the one who thinks that Keanu Reeves follows you on Twitter. Are you sure this was Matt Dillon?
Oh, yeah, this was Matt Dillon. And then during the flight, he starts looking at a script. And I'm like, oh, Barnes would be all over this.
Wait, you didn't talk to him at all?
Wasn't I going to bother him and say, oh, are you Matt Dillon? No.
You're on a flight for what, 8 hours with
8
Matt
hours.
Dillon, and you're across the aisle?
No one else bothered him either. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody else knew who he was but me.
I would have been best friends with the dude by the time we landed. I'd have been living in his guest house in L.A. What is wrong with you?
Barnes would have had they would already been having champagne together. There would have been a conversation.
Captive.
Barnes would have been invited over. Barnes would have been looking at the script.
Fram.
I know.
Captive audience.
I know. I'm not going to bother Matt Dillon. And again, he looks exactly the same.
But does he have that kind of jack? Like, you're going to buy 2 of the seats?
I imagine he does. I mean, if you look at all the movies he's been in a ton of movies.
What has he done late? I'm pulling up his IMDb. What has he done lately?
Let's see here. I'm looking as well.
So he looks exactly the same.
He looks exactly the same.
His last credit is there's something about
Haunted Heart coming out this year, right. And then Being Maria.
I see it. Oh, wow. He has done a lot lately.
I saw him in that movie Capone. I saw that.
Well, I'm very disappointed in you. You travel with this dude for 8 hours, whatever, and you don't say a word, not even hello.
What was I supposed to say?
You're supposed to get him on the show. That's a rule.
So I tap on his I tap on his shoulders,
Fram,
and I'm like,
this is parallel. What happened the last time I was on the way back from there, and I was sitting next to the CEO of Delta? What did I do? I got him on the show.
So what would have been your first move? Give me some lessons.
Hi.
I need some lessons.
Just say hello. Just strike up a conversation, but don't go right in for the kill. And then later go, well, I do a morning show.
Yeah.
Can you come on the morning show? Okay. Well, I'm very disappointed in you. That's a great story, but the fact that you just stayed silent. Come on. Who trained you?
I do like that in, 2 different ways I remembered who he was.
I like the buy 2 seats, though. That's a strong.
I'm like, his brother was on Entourage was the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah, major flex. Okay, you want to feel really bad about yourself? I have one for you. So, Leslie left here and flew back last Thursday. That's why we were on Best Of Thursday and Friday. So, we sent Leslie to go to Ridley Scott's winery, to his vineyard, which is about 2 miles from where we were staying.
It's absolutely stunning.
Stunning. It's called Amused.
He designs everything. He designs the bottles. He draws the bottle, the labels. It's crazy.
The whole thing. So it's this really cool 3-story building. There's a basement, and then there's very modern glass and cement. And a lot of his movie artifacts are in there. And then there's an upstairs, I guess, offices or whatever. So we send Leslie and Lanny over to Mazdes, and they go off and do their thing. So they come back, and they're all giddy. Oh, we met this girl. And Lanny was like, I'm not going to buy any wine. And, of course, what did he ship? 2 cases to your house or something?
No, not 2 cases.
Or
6
It
bottles.
was. 6 bottles. So we go to Mazdes after you. So we talk. You're like, oh, it's great. We met this lovely girl. And so we go back, and turns out the girl you met was the girl that I met last year. So
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. We knew her. So we start talking to her. No one's in there. Like, there is not a person
Same here.
Yeah, no one's there. So you and Lanny were there talking to her about Ridley Scott and movies and stuff.
Yes, she was very knowledgeable. She's a movie buff. She even mentioned that Ridley Scott and his wife invited her over to his house and how down to earth he was.
So what you don't know, and she told us, is that while you were there, and they are forbidden to say it, but the entire time you were there, Ridley Scott was just below you, down the stairs, in the basement, in his conference room.
That's why we didn't get to go into the conference room.
That's why.
Are you kidding me?
They didn't allow you. You were flipping 10 feet away from Ridley Scott, and you had no idea.
We were doing the tour, and she said, that's his office, which is this huge conference room. And I said, are we allowed to? She goes, no one's allowed in there. Because remember, you told me it was open that day.
That's crazy.
What would have happened if he had peeked out?
I mean, you probably wouldn't even. Would you have recognized him if he would have walked up?
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
Anyway, that was funny.
Now I'm watching every Ridley Scott movie there ever was. So
she couldn't tell you, and that wine is fantastic.
Crazy.
Mazdes. She couldn't tell you. She also told me that earlier in the week there was a couple sitting right where you were sitting, tasting the wines, and they were asking a million questions about Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott came up, walked right past them, and went back downstairs, and this couple never realized it. They didn't put it together. I guess because if you're so in the moment, you're right there, you just don't think about it.
And I wonder what he was wearing. I wonder if he was just being
casual, I'm sure.
That's
Apparently
insane.
He just likes to stay on the DL anyway. I thought that was funny that you were right. I've tried to bump into that dude a million times, and it's no chance. Like my eyes are like eagle eyes.
Right there.
Right
no wonder
there.
we couldn't go into the office.
All right. Well, Matt Dillon will not be coming up on the show.
Sorry.
But I am working on Ridley Scott.
Oh,
so
thank you.
We'll get back to you. All right. We're going to get these tickets for Alanis Roland. We have these tickets all week. And a Morning X friend, past guest, got a major shout out on stage at the Stones over the weekend. I've got the audio. It's coming up. This is the original. It is 99X.